Friends, hello everyone. My name is Jenya Panasyuk, and I travel to uninhabited islands in search of new adventures. For some viewers of my channel, the beginning of this video will already be familiar. But for certain reasons, this season was cut short. But I have good news, and I finally managed to regain access to the filmed material. Enjoy watching. And I'm heading off to live on a new uninhabited island. On the map, I found a new uninhabited island. Using the internet and technology, I remotely studied it a bit. And I assumed that it could be something new and very interesting. I jump into the boat and set off in search of this island. Well, friends, the long-awaited moment has come when I once again set out in search of new adventures, a new country, a new completely uninhabited island where I have never been before. The climate here is different, drier. The island's terrain is more rocky. During the day there is scorching sun, and in the evening it is quite cool. The conditions are completely different. I really hope that on this island I will be able to find at least a small sandy bay where I can set up my camp more comfortably. In general, I am staying optimistic, and you wish me luck. On our way, the ship's captain took a spool of fishing line with hooks attached to it. And on the way to my island, he wasted no time and started fishing. He threw the rig into the water and simply held the line in his hand, jerking it while moving. This way, he managed to catch some small mackerel, which he shared with me. A few hours later, I saw the island on the horizon. There is already some kind of beach area, which is good. I circled the island to study it carefully. Once again, I made sure that this island is indeed completely uninhabited. There was not a single house on it. Now I need to choose the most convenient and interesting place where I can land and set up my camp. Well, friends, I have arrived. The most important things are fishing gear and spearfishing equipment. But friends, I'll say right away, there is no beautiful coral reef in these parts, at least not in this bay. The bottom is more sandy, but on the other hand, it is much easier to get to shore from the boat. This place is not very good for fishing and spearfishing yet, although the water is as warm as milk. Trash as usual, lots of plastic. Alright, first I'll walk along the shore, see where it makes sense to set up my camp. I always lower my expectations a bit, meaning I was expecting slightly worse conditions. This will come in handy. Coconut husk is dry, it's the best tinder for starting a fire without matches or a lighter. So all these useful things we will collect right away. I will need them. Yes, I expected it to be worse. I thought the beach area would be minimal. Yes, I am exploring the shore to find good shade where I can set up camp. Not too deep in the bushes because, look friends, the thickets there are really dense, right? In general, now I will choose something interesting and start setting up. Well, it's very shallow here. Very shallow for fishing and spearfishing. This of course is not good. But I will try to swim out beyond this sandbar to the coral reef and see what's there. Maybe there will be good spearfishing. We'll see how it goes. Friends, as is tradition, I start my island adventure on day one with an iron nail. Well, damn, what a bummer. Seriously. Crap. What a start to the day. Damn, friends. Lucky, just barely. Still hurts though. I try to be careful, but no matter how hard you try, something always happens. Something you can't even expect or anticipate. You always have to stay alert. And how do you like this tree? To hang a hammock here and set up camp. The only thing I immediately want to note is that there are a lot of cicadas on its branches. Do you hear the sound? Quite the alarm clock. Let's see, if it doesn't disturb me at night, then I think I can set up my camp there. I'm considering another spot. I went a little deeper into the shade, And I'm thinking, there's a lot of vegetation here, and I'm like, not bad. I look under my feet to make sure there are no crabs here because they crawl around at night and that really interferes with sleep. I took a couple of steps and suddenly a snake slithered away right under my feet. Green, tree-dwelling, small. Very small, but kind of feisty. If it bites, it will hurt a little. Venomous. Yeah, venomous. It's more afraid of me than I am of it. But the main thing is just not to step on such snakes and everything will be fine. The main thing is that the waves don't rise at night. If the waves aren't big, they won't disturb my sleep. And then right on the ocean shore, just above the water, it will be beautiful. So, let's give it a try there. If anything, I'll move the camp further away from the water later. The climate on this island was very hot and dry. The scorching sun simply didn't allow me to set up my camp. I constantly needed to hide in the shade. Friends, the sun here is just insane. It's extremely hot. My surfer friends made me this special zinc for surfing that doesn't wash off with water, based on coffee. It smells just like coffee beans. I'll apply it, friends, because I'll burn very quickly. The sun is extremely strong. If I don't put it on, the rest of my time on the island will be spent somewhere over there under a tree in the shade. Getting sunburned is exactly what I don't want. I've been through this many times. So I need to protect myself. And here, the climate is just abnormally hot. Everything is dry, scorched. I feel like in a couple of days I'll look the same. Did I apply it well under my eyes, my nose? The color is weird, but it is what it is. And overall, staying in the sun is very harmful. The high radiation, the solar exposure is extremely bad for health. And with my lifestyle, friends, you understand. A hat on my head and let's get to work. Time to set up my island. First of all, I need to set up camp. That means hanging up my hammock and setting up my tarp. Somewhere I also have a new piece of gear from Laleka. Now I have this ultra-light mosquito net. Laleka, thank you very much. First, I'll secure my hammock. Friends, this is probably the most beautiful place I've ever set up my hammock. Alright, now let's install the mosquito net on the hammock. Just look how fine the mesh is. That's good. Even the tiniest bug won't get in at night. In the evening and at night, it will protect me from mosquitoes and sandflies. And now it's time to set up the tarp, which will shield me from the scorching sun and possible rain. But I don't expect rain. Here, in these parts, rain is almost non-existent. Using ropes and stakes, I secured it from the right side. The camp is set up. Now it's time to cook the fish caught by the captain. I don't have a fridge, and in this heat the fish will spoil very quickly, so I won't waste time and will cook it right away. I won't be able to stretch it out for long. It just needs to be cooked now and eaten as much as possible. Whatever gets lightly smoked might last until morning, but I won't count on that. I rely on my own skills, as always. I'll try to catch something interesting, something tasty. But in any case, thanks to the ship's captain for this treat, let's say. Here's the fish we have. Let's go make a fire and cook it. To start a fire, I'll need dry grass, small dry twigs, and some bigger branches. I'll cut one fish into pieces and use it as bait for primitive fishing. Because this mackerel is more than enough for one meal. I know that fishermen in Turkey used to do it like this. They salted fish meat and chicken meat. It would shrink, become dry, tougher. First of all, in extreme heat, it didn't spoil as fast. And secondly, it sat better on the hook. Let's try to do the same. I will sacrifice one mackerel for bait. Let it just salt and dry here in the open sun. I'll make a grill. For this, I need stones. I laid them in a circle and stacked the firewood inside like a teepee. Now it's time to make fire. For this, I will need palm bark, a stone, and a steel plate. I make a few strikes and get a spark. Now I transfer this spark to dry grass and blow it into a flame. We have fire. All I needed was a piece of steel plate, a stone found on the island, and dry palm bark. While my fire burns and good embers form, I will take a knife, split a bamboo fragment, and make small skewers on which I will grill my fish. And literally in just 10 minutes, the fish was ready. And now it's time for lunch. So, the fish is fried, added a little salt. Last season, everyone wrote, "Jeka, take salt with you. The stingray will be tastier." This time I brought salt. I will cook with it. It saved me time. Otherwise, I'd be diving underwater, catching fish for myself. For once, it got a little easier for me. Now this is a different matter. I'll add some lime. For mackerel, lime is just perfect. Mackerel tastes very similar to tuna. They belong to the same fish family. Just a mini tuna, I would say. Actually, its meat is quite lean, which I don't particularly like. I prefer fatty fish. But right now, this meat is incredibly delicious. Plus, I salted it. Plus, it's grilled over embers. And also with lime. Everything I need. Yes, the fish that was less fried is incredibly juicy and tasty. The fish is small, so it doesn't need to be grilled for long. But first, the embers are big. Second, the stick burned through and the fish fell into the embers. And third, I'm not just grilling fish, I'm also filming, running back and forth. So I get distracted. I get distracted and might miss the moment when such a small fish is already cooked. Look what I found. This is a lure for squid fishing. And for complete comfort and coziness in my camp, I need a small pot, a frying pan, and this very important element, friends, this is an LED strip or a solar-powered diode strip. It will charge in the sun, and at night I will attach it above the hammock. But now it's time to test my skills. I took a mask and snorkel, put on my spearfishing gear, and grabbed my spear gun, and I dived underwater. So far, I haven't seen any big fish. In the distance, I saw a large turtle swimming by. But I immediately noticed that this island has a lot of big edible mollusks, like giant clams. Wherever you look, they grow everywhere here. And this mollusk is very rare here, and it is considered a delicacy. And here on the coral, I saw a giant clam, but I couldn't just pull it off. And here on the coral, I saw a giant clam. I put the spear gun on safety and set it aside. I will need both hands. And I also took a knife to pry it a little. I applied some force and pulled out the giant clam. Look at the size of it. I put in all my effort and managed to get another big giant clam. Wow, beautiful. Look at this meaty one. What a luck. What a fortune. Cool. I love tridacna. This food will definitely be enough for the evening. Time to head back to shore. I managed to set up a very comfortable camp, but something is still missing. Yes, my portable shower. A very simple yet useful thing. With it, it's very convenient to wash dishes, wash my face, rinse off sand, and clean my hands. I found a suitable spot for it right next to my tent. Now I'll gather some dry firewood and make a fire. Time to cook the shellfish. Since I don't have a fridge, I kept the shellfish just in the water near my camp. A very big and juicy tridacna. There should be plenty of meat in it. Glad I took a big pot. Not sure if I'll catch a crab to cook in it. But these shellfish, I will definitely cook in it. A very delicious delicacy. I've praised it 100 times in my videos, but lately, I haven't been coming across them. I decided to cook them in the pot. And of course, I'll use seawater for that. I put the pot with water on the fire. Let the water boil. I think 10 minutes will be enough. They'll steam perfectly, just like mussels in wine sauce. I'll have to crack it open. The meat is left inside the pot. Maybe the shellfish is the same way. Look, it's completely empty here. What a patty. This is from the smaller tridacna. Very tasty. Damn, I don't know. It's very hard to describe its aroma. The tastiest shellfish I've ever eaten. Honestly, it's somewhat similar to a mussel, but more like those marinated mussels in jars, not the pure natural boiled mussel, but the one with seasonings and flavor enhancers. And this one has that taste naturally. By the way, the meat is tough. Very delicious, honestly, as if it has some kind of flavor enhancer. I don't know, it's hard to describe. You have to try it, friends. This shellfish is also considered a delicacy, a rather rare shellfish. And it's very rare to find one large enough to take and cook. I don't know how to get it out. I'll have to break the shell. This is the meaty foot you get from this shellfish. Disposed of the waste. Even like this. The meat is tender and sweet. Yes, the taste is interesting, with a sweet aftertaste and softer texture than tridacna. Tridacna has these lips, these colorful parts. They are soft, tasty, and juicy. But inside, there's a strong, firm foot. It's also meaty, but tough. And here, the structure of the whole body is the same. Firm, but just right. In terms of consistency, it's somewhere close to squid, I guess. Not like tridacna, not like squid. A sweet, salty seafood. Glad I cooked it in seawater. The flavor unfolds perfectly, just as it should. Friends, these are two delicacies. Two delicacies that cost a lot in restaurants, and I have the chance to just dive in, catch them, and cook them myself over a fire. I decided to take a walk before bed, see what's happening in the water at night, what's going on along the shore. I was already about to go to sleep. I was very tired from the day, but at the last moment, I pushed myself, put on my spearfishing gear, and finally decided to go night spearfishing. Because at night, the most unexpected and interesting things happen underwater. Sometimes at night, I manage to encounter sea creatures that I would never see during the day. Sometimes I manage to catch some unexpectedly big prey, or to see a giant stingray. But this time at night, I encountered this big turtle. I've already had a good dive. Now, with a clear conscience, I can return to the shore and go to sleep. I still have some mackerel left. A few pieces. It needs to be eaten. I'm worried that it won't last until morning. I had a very filling meal. Today was a very eventful day. The journey was long, and by the time I reached the island, I was very exhausted. Then I set up my camp, caught my prey, and cooked it. During all this time, I spent a lot of strength and energy, so I'm very tired. It's time to go to sleep. Day 2. Good morning, friends. To be honest, I slept very badly last night. First of all, it was extremely hot. And secondly, very early in the morning, the cicadas woke up and their sound will replace my alarm clock for the entire period of my survival on this island. Overall, I feel okay. The only thing is that my head feels kind of square, probably from overheating in the sun. While exploring the island, I picked up a stick to drive away all the poisonous creatures in my path. Look, here's a small little oasis. A fragment of the tropics. There are palm trees here and some kind of spiky thing. Oh, friends, there's some kind of riverbed here. Look, what if it's fresh water? What if it's a source of fresh water? But then again, friends, this is a new island. This is a different region. There could be crocodiles here. We need to be careful. What do you think, friends? Is this fresh water, or does the ocean flow in during high tide? Well, of course, this kind of water doesn't really make me want to drink it, but in any case, I have a filter with me, but this is still water. If it were flowing water, then yes, it could be considered for drinking. But this completely still water is very risky. Oh, friends. Oh, is this by any chance friends? This looks a lot like burrows of swamp crabs. Giant swamp crabs. I really hope these monsters are here. What if I get lucky? It's dirty, of course. A lot of trash. Well, yeah, that happens. That happens, friends. Friends, there's no one here to clean up the trash. There's only me. You can't even imagine, friends, how many boats I would need to clean up even a little bit of this island. It's beyond one person's ability. Usually, I clean up the area where I set up camp, at least to have it clean around me, and to bring at least some minimal benefit to the island. But physically, like Jekka, clean up all the trash on the island. I would love to, friends, but for that, I'd need, I don't know, a month and a couple of boats to haul all of this away. I physically can't do it alone, unfortunately, but I'll try something. So, there are definitely mangrove crabs here. That red-purple crab, I've caught them before in my videos. So, we're definitely setting crab traps, friends. But I really hope that the big swamp crabs are here too. I would really like to catch a giant one, you know, like in Australia. Wow, look what I found. Damn, what a pity. There was a very big shell, but it's already broken. It's interesting here, friends. Different terrain, different climate. I'm sure the underwater world will be very different too. Let's see. Very interesting. I love exploring new places. Alright, I found another place with water. Are there crabs here or not? Some fish is hiding here. An interesting swamp. Well, are there any animal tracks or not? Oh, there are rocks, friends. An interesting place. Look, damn, the terrain here is completely different. Alright, I'm walking through the middle of the swamp. I might get stuck here. Rushing in boldly. There are rocks here, look. Interesting place. And where there are rocks, there are crabs. For sure. Yes, I can already see it. There are burrows dug under the rocks. Most likely crabs are hiding there. Maybe small ones, or maybe big ones. Interesting place. What do you think about this spot for setting up camp? The only thing I don't like is that it's a swamp. Not very comfortable sitting in the swamps. I wouldn't be surprised if mosquitoes attack here at night too. Let's go closer to the ocean. Oh, the sun is scorching here, friends. I'll walk just to the end of the bay, and then I'll have to hide in some clothes. I'll put zinc on my face, because the sun here is relentless, just relentless. Very hot, very dry. I think you can tell by the grass, friends, that the climate here is not very humid. Alright, rocks. Rocks in the water are a good sign. Why? Because in such places, squids often swim in the evening. I really hope that during high tide, the water level will rise at least a little more. And here, among the rocks, I'll be able to hunt squids with a spear. But what worries me, friends, is that the high tide phase is already here, but the water level is very low. The water will rise, I don't know, maybe by a meter, and that's it. That's not enough, but at night, the high tide phase will be much stronger. When the moon is out, magnetic pull will be stronger, and the water level will rise more at night. During the day, the difference between high and low tide is very small. Well, friends, time flies so fast. Back and forth, and it's already noon. I haven't had time to do anything yet. And time here needs to be spent as productively as possible. It can't be wasted. First of all, I need to set up comfort, catch some food, and make a fire. Since yesterday, I have one cooked tridacna left. It's a kind of giant mollusk. It's edible and actually quite tasty. A few embers were still smoldering in my fire from the night. With their help, I reignited my fire. I want to boil water and make tea. There's a great lookout spot here. Perfect for keeping an eye out, in case a shark or stingray swims up to the shore. Right from the hammock, grab the spear and go. From the ship, I took a few limes with me to the island, to add some variety to the taste of fish, and generally to the seafood I catch. But this morning, I decided to use a few slices to brew them in water and make a kind of tea alternative. Alright, well, it's time to get the giant tridacna. Powerful. That's what it looks like. And here's the muscle that held the whole shell together. The muscle is tough, but tasty. Here it is, a fly, or from here. The tastiest part here is these lips. I know, friends, that through the screens it doesn't look very appetizing, but when you're really hungry, you look at this mollusk very differently. And sometimes you just have no other choice. My lime tea is ready. It's better than nothing. This is the hottest of all the islands I have ever been to. I wouldn't want to spend most of the day hiding from the scorching sun. So I will stretch another tarp between the trees and make a shelter. This will be a storage or workshop. Throughout the day under this tarp, I will be able to create my hunting tools, store extra firewood and dry grass, keep my catch, as well as hide my equipment and belongings. On the tree near the tarp, I made a small drying rack for my wet clothes. After improving and expanding my camp a little, having a snack and drinking lime tea, I decided to go spearfishing. Friends, nothing helps. The sun here is just brutal. Just insane. Even through this thermal wear, it burns through. I've already gotten sunburned under my shirt. It's like a desert. This is the hottest island I have ever been to. Here, yes, the main issue is not food, but water. If it weren't for the fresh water, I would have croaked here already. Well, unless I had to collect from that swamp and filter it, but I highly doubt the safety of that water. It's just stagnant swamp water full of bacteria and parasites, and despite my filter, I'd probably get more harm than benefit from drinking it. I'm not counting on rain, so I use my water reserve. But I was warned right away that it's unbearably hot here, and that water would be a problem, so I took a reserve with me. Well, friends, let's do this. If this episode gets 18,000 likes in a day, then in the next episode, I will catch those giant crabs and cook them over the fire. Maximum level of protection. In the past 6 months, I have traveled tens of thousands of kilometers. And unfortunately, when I travel, I had to disassemble my favorite spear. Now I'll explain why. In full size, carrying it around and flying with it is very difficult. So all I have left is the rubber band and the tip. Now I need to find something suitable that I can use as a handle to restore my spear and start hunting. But this time with a spear, I will search along the shore. There's a lot of bamboo washed up. I just need to find one of the right size and thickness, because mostly there are either huge logs or super thin bamboo. I need to find something in between, the golden middle. Friends, this is just the perfect piece. Look. First, it's straight. Second, it's exactly the right length. The only thing is I need to trim a little to improve the aerodynamics. And it's a little too thin on this side. I won't be able to screw the tip in here. I wouldn't want to cut it because then it would be too short. Right now the length is just right. I'll stretch the rubber around here and it will be the perfect spear. But if I cut off one segment here to screw the spear tip inside the bamboo, then it will be too short. Look, this would be a short spear. I'd prefer it to be longer. One option is to flip it and screw the tip into the thicker part, yes, and load and shoot from this side. That way, the balance seems fine, but I've tried this before. First, when the rubber is stretched, this part deforms a lot. Second, due to the heavy metal tip and the thick bamboo, this part becomes very unbalanced underwater. So after all, it would be better to somehow secure the tip on this side. Here, it will be more rigid under tension and the spear's hydrodynamics and balance underwater will be perfect. I don't know, I'll figure something out. Maybe attach it to the side somehow, but I'd prefer it inside. Or split it, insert the tip, and tie it with something. I'll probably put the tip at the back because otherwise I'd have to cut the spear a lot. Let's try it this way first, and if needed, I'll switch sides. The only thing I still forgot is that the bamboo on the fire needs to be straightened. Take a look. Can you see it? It's quite crooked. The bamboo needs to be heated and the spear straightened to perfection. Here, with the help of a knife, I need to make a hole through both sides and thread the string and rubber band through, securing it at the end of the spear. To make the hole in the spear, I'll use the awl that's in my knife. The spear definitely needs to be straightened on the fire, because its crooked shape will make it deviate from the trajectory, and we don't want that. Got it, friends. I've made the hole, threaded the rope through the spear, and I believe the rubber band is in place. Now I just need to tie it all on this side and it's done. Then I just need to straighten the bamboo and voila! Look, like this. To straighten the bamboo, I used coconut husk. I lit it and placed the bamboo in it to heat it up and then straighten it. It works. When you're busy with the process on the island, time flies very quickly. I haven't managed to do much, and the sun is already setting. I'll take the spear, friends. While the sun is still up, I'll walk along the shore. I'll check the low tide spots. Maybe there's something interesting. Then I'll head to the mangrove bushes. I'll check there, because I still want to catch a snake and make snake soup. And I'll also check the bushes for crabs. Have they woken up or not? But I think I'll wait until the sun sets completely. In about an hour, I'll go crab hunting. I need to test the spear in action. I walked to the mangrove bushes, and there were many monkeys. But as soon as I approach, they hide. They hide over there in the bushes, watching me. When I move away, they come back. I wonder, has the water level risen here, friends, or not? Oh, it's so muddy here. There's a lot of trash. So, what do we have here? Are there any crabs? No crabs here. That was a lazy hunt. I went out to the rocks, bombarded the crabs, went, cooked, and ate everything. There's no such luck here. This time, during the low tide, I didn't catch anything with the spear. And that means it's time for Plan B. Wait for it to get dark, grab the gear for underwater hunting. Take the spear, dive under the water and catch some food. Every time on a new, uninhabited island, it's time for the night hunt. And I'll tell you honestly, it's always very scary. I don't know the terrain here, and I don't know what underwater night creatures might be waiting for me. The only thing I know for sure is that the sea predators go hunting at night, including me. I swam and looked carefully around. First of all, I was very curious to see if there were any sharks here. There definitely are, but I mean, do they swim in my bay? Suddenly, a small squid swam into the light of my flashlight, and when I looked closer, there were several of them. And that's a good sign. That means I'll be hunting squids on this island. As soon as I swam up to one of them and extended my hand, it swiftly swam away, leaving only a cloud of ink in front of me. That's how it defends itself from a predator's attack. Friends, look, there's a beautiful blue starfish under the water. At a shallow depth near the bottom, a small fish was swimming. I aimed with the spear and made a shot, but the fish was faster. I couldn't catch anything. I was very disappointed and returned to camp. Good night, friends. Today, I want to try a life hack from TikTok. Specifically, to see if it's possible to cook my catch in a disposable plastic bag over a fire. And this is my third day on the uninhabited island. Good morning, friends. Something has completely clogged my nose and throat. I noticed that this happens after underwater hunting. At night, when I'm doing underwater hunting and coming back, and because of the mask and the depth difference, it catches up. It's not even 6 in the morning yet. The sun is just rising over the horizon, and my next day on the uninhabited island is starting. Well, today my task, as usual, is very simple. Expand and set up my camp. Catch myself some food, make fire, and cook. While exploring the island on my way, I gathered all the building materials that might come in handy for building my shelter. Another piece of bamboo. This will be useful for building some additional shelter. These will be the foundation of the shelter. All the useful building materials I found, I placed under the tarp. Then I took my underwater hunting crossbow. I grabbed the mask and snorkel and dived into the water, hoping to catch some food. Today, I decided to do underwater hunting near the mangrove bushes. Here, there are big rocks and shallow water, but most importantly, the water was clear and transparent. And who would have thought, not far from the shore, in these rocks, there was a pretty big fish hiding. But the difficulty was that I couldn't shoot into these rocks. There was a big chance of breaking my crossbow, and then I would be left on the island without a crossbow. So I had to wait for the big fish to swim out from under the rock and be in an open space where I could make a safe shot. I focused on the biggest fish and waited for a good angle. And in one of those moments I aimed and made an accurate shot. I managed to catch some food. Well, I won't waste time. I'm heading back to the shore with this catch. I took off my underwater hunting gear and hung it to dry. Friends, why am I using zinc? This is not an advertisement because this is handmade zinc from my friends, my neighbors. These are surfer guys and they made it themselves from zinc and coffee. A completely natural product. And what's its advantage? The advantage is that it forms a very tough layer, like clay on the skin, and it actually protects. Because these store-bought sunscreens from pharmacies don't help with such intense sun, they don't save. And also sunscreen, yes, it washes off very quickly. That's why fishermen, surfers use this zinc. I think you've seen it many times in videos when surfers have their faces all covered, right? With some strange clay-like color? Well, that's zinc, now you know. Zinc is much more effective than sunscreen. And I've already gotten unaccustomed to the sun, so I burn quickly. But it's okay, I adapt quickly. Thankfully, even when I get sunburned, my skin heals very fast. It doesn't hurt. I can feel that I've burned, my skin itches, it's red, it might even hurt a little. But I don't have anything like needing to smear myself with sour cream, kefir, or panthenol to save myself. The skin adapts very quickly. But there's not much good in that because, as I already said, the sunlight has a lot of radiation and it's very harmful to the skin. It can have very bad consequences. So it's better to protect yourself from the sun as much as possible. Well, I caught some prey. And now it's time to test a life hack from TikTok. One of my channel subscribers sent me a TikTok video on Instagram, where supposedly some grandmother caught a small fish, made a fire. She filled a disposable bag with water, boiled it, and cooked the fish she caught in it. The entire video was edited with cuts. I seriously doubted that the grandmother actually did this. But theoretically, it could work. I have cooked my catch in a plastic bottle and boiled water many times before. And it's quite possible. But would such a trick work with a thin disposable bag? I had serious doubts. But it would be really cool to pull this off. Well, let's try. First of all, I need to make fire. I create a spark by drilling. I transfer it into dry coconut and blow air into it to ignite the fire in dry grass. I managed to make fire very quickly and easily. I'll add dry firewood. Now let's make a rotisserie like this on the sides. I thread a disposable bag onto its base. I fill it with seawater. And now, very carefully, I need to place it above the fire. The flame needs to be controlled all the time, so the large tongues of fire don't melt the bag. The setup is ready. Even though slowly, it's cautiously heating up the water. And I decided not to waste time. I grabbed the crossbow and went back underwater. Maybe I'll catch some additional prey. I found a lot of mollusks on my way. But I ate so many of them yesterday that today I wanted to catch something else. I swam farther from the shore, where the depth was greater, and dove to the very bottom, hoping to catch a bigger fish there. Meanwhile, the water was heating up over the fire. I dove as deep as I could and looked under the coral reef. Crabs and lobsters might be hiding there. And here swims a coral grouper, and it turned out to be faster than my reaction. I did some underwater hunting and decided to return to the shore. Meanwhile, my caught fish was almost eaten by little hermit crabs. But I don't mind, so I took out my knife and started cleaning the fish. I'll leave the guts and head. Later, I'll use them as bait for my crab traps. I cleaned the fish and returned to the bag. I gently and carefully placed the fish into the hot water. The water never boiled, and the bag developed a hole on the side. But I decided not to give up. I grabbed a new bag, filled it with water, and hung it above the fire. My nose is already stuffed up, and my throat is sore. And all of this because of the sun. I haven't eaten or drunk anything cold. From overheating, the body is failing. The water too. If it were a cold ocean, I would understand. But the water is as hot as milk. I tried to maintain the temperature while controlling the flame. But still, the bag above the water melted very quickly and burned through. Well, friends, it looks like TikTok life hacks are fake. Because my fire is super small, but the bag still can't withstand it. Above the boiling point, it heats up, melts, and rips apart. The flame doesn't rise above it. For now, it's just the water temperature above that melts the bag where there's no water. So, for now, the TikTok video is under serious doubt. In the end, I decided to grill my fish on the coals, and if you'd like me to test another life hack in the next video, send me video examples on TikTok and Instagram. Friends, it's insanely hot, just unbearably hot. I don't know, it's very tough. The day went by very quickly. The sun began to set below the horizon. I washed my hands and dishes and went to gather building materials. Here's more big bamboo. I'll take another one. And I'll come back for the rest later. In the evening, I made a bigger fire, grabbed my gear, and went to do some night underwater hunting. At night, there are such surprises underwater that despite the catch, you can see so much more. For example, giant worms or these hairy crabs hiding in shells. I was swimming underwater and shining my flashlight. And here, some small fish were hiding, reflecting off the light from my flashlight. There was a sea urchin swimming here, but it was very small, so there was no point in taking it. I swam further. And suddenly, near the water surface, I spotted a small needlefish. But shooting such a fish with a crossbow is just impossible, so I tried to grab it with my hand. Look, it wasn't afraid of me at all. If I had known there were so many needlefish here, I would have taken a spear instead. With a spear, I would have had a much better chance of catching this fish. And here, right at the bottom, there was a small jellyfish swimming, but it's better not to touch it with your hands. I saw another needlefish, and in desperation, I decided to shoot it with my crossbow. But of course I missed. I came ashore, warmed up by the fire, and finally finished eating the leftover mackerel from yesterday. I decided to take a walk before going to sleep, and I also wanted to check the mangrove bushes to see if there were any big crabs there. If I hadn't passed them yet, friends, I see a crab. I see a crab. I see a crab. These mangrove crabs have red, reddish-purple shells. I'm going to take out my knife now. because I can't grab it with my hands. Have you seen it yet? There, between the branches. Although, wait, you need to grab it with your hands. Wow. How about this one? By the way, it's a male. By the way, it's a male. Friends, look, another one near a plastic bag. Wow. There's a giant over there. Look how big it is. Can you see it? Big, really big. By the water. Oh my God. Friends. Friends, look. Look at what's happening here. Crabs. Damn, I just ate. I would have caught them now. Look. Oops, a spider web. We don't go here. Well, this one is just a giant. Look, friends, there are very big crabs here.
Whoa. Whoa.
It's going to bite. It's going to bite. Damn, I can't hold it. Wow. Oh my God, this is a monster. Friends, this is a monster. Look at its claw. Unbelievable crab. I got a little bit of payback. Damn, it's really big. Friends, this is just insane. Oh, it's so painful. Such a powerful crab. Friends, just look at this monster. Look at this size. Look at this claw. Unbelievable. Look. So if it grabs my finger with that claw, it's going to be bad. Such a long claw, friends. Such a long claw. Damn, it's so big. Friends, look at this claw. Look at this claw. Look at the size. I can't believe my eyes. These crabs live here, right? Look at this monster. Look at the size. Damn, wow. Such a big crab. Really big. And there are more like that crawling around. They're hiding there in the bushes. I knew it. I knew it. I immediately figured out from the terrain that there would be monsters here. Look. Here's 1, 2, 3 hiding. But the one I just caught is really some kind of monster. These seem smaller. Wow! Here's another one. Look, let's go check more. What if there are those Australian giant crabs here? Hello? Hello, little crab.
Hi, big.
The light from my flashlight blinds them, so they run away until I get closer. When I approach, they just freeze. I heard something heavy fall here. Yes, friends. My experience didn't fail me. I immediately saw the swamp. I immediately saw the stones under the stones with burrows. I immediately realized it was mangrove swamp crabs. This one's eating, we won't disturb it. Wow. It ran away. Look what I found. A spot. I ate before bed. Because tomorrow evening for sure. Oh my God, friends. Is this another one or the same one I caught? Damn, it's not the same. That claw is dangerous, of course. I'll let it go. Look at how big it is. Just look at its size. That's it. The mosquitoes are eating me. Letting the crab go and running away. Because they're biting. Even through my pants, they're getting me. A very big crab. And there are burrows over there. It's hiding somewhere around here. Well, I'm not sorry I decided to do some reconnaissance before bed, friends. Oops, a swamp. And I got stuck in a spider web. I did reconnaissance before bed. Now I've found another food source. I also want to catch a sea snake and make a soup. I didn't gather pots for nothing. And today is my 4th day on this uninhabited island. I wake up early in the morning, not from an alarm clock, and not because the sun is rising, but because cicadas start screaming in the trees. Last night I managed to catch 2 large mangrove crabs. They are the first ones I will cook. It's very convenient to catch them because they don't need a refrigerator. Crabs can be stored alive until I need to cook them. This is an easily accessible, slightly hazardous, but nonetheless useful and very tasty catch. First of all, the crabs need to be put to sleep. Despite their size, they are very aggressive and have a fighting nature. Using my knife, I put the crabs to sleep and thoroughly wash them in the ocean to remove the swamp. These are the kinds of crabs I managed to catch. Very big. With a steel plate and dry palm bark, I made fire. On it, I will boil some water. I filled a small pot with ocean water and placed it on the fire. Now, I need to wait until the crabs are cooked. And just 15 minutes later, my crabs were ready. I took them out of the pot and began eating. Well, the juice is delicious, I'll tell you right away. Now you need to break them somehow. The meat is sweet, really sweet, but because I boiled them in ocean water, in seawater, it's just the perfect balance of sweet and salty. Just the perfect balance, friends. It's really delicious. Cool. On the previous island, I caught small crabs that I called spiders. They were smaller in size and their shells were much softer. And it was much easier to get the meat out. These crabs, however, had very tough and hard shells. So, for this, I used either rocks or my knife to break the shell and get the meat out. But these crabs were bigger, and there was more edible meat inside. Super tasty crabs. Just 10 out of 10. I agree with you. After breakfast, I took my underwater hunting gear and dove into the water to hunt a little with a crossbow. I decided not to swim to deep depths, but to hunt in the coral reef. The water here was clean and clear, and in the coral reef I saw schools of fish. I took a breath and descended to the bottom. I held onto a rock with one hand to stabilize myself at the bottom. When suddenly, at some point, I felt a sharp pain in my right shoulder. I turned my head and saw a sea star called the Crown of Thorns. It is one of the brightest and most mysterious creatures in coral reefs. It can grow up to 60 centimeters in diameter and has a huge number of sharp poisonous spines covering its body. These spines serve as protection from predators, but they can also be dangerous to humans, causing intense pain and inflammation when stung. The crown of thorns is a predator that feeds on coral. Its dietary preferences can be destructive for coral reefs, as one such star can eat corals on a square meter of reef in just one day. Massive reproduction of these stars can lead to catastrophic consequences for the ecosystem. However, not all is lost. In nature, there are predators, such as the giant triton, that hunt the crown of thorns, helping to control its population. Here is another such sea star. I felt pain in my right shoulder. I interrupted my underwater hunt and went back to shore. During the day, it's unrealistic to do anything, except maybe underwater hunting in a suit. Why? Because the water is hot and the suit isn't needed. It's needed only for coral protection. But the sun is scorching unbelievably, and if I were without the suit, I'd burn in seconds on my back and legs. So I have no choice. The suit is necessary. Once again, I was engaged in underwater hunting. I lay on the bottom, seeing a school of fish. I waited for the right moment to take a shot, and felt a sharp pain in my right shoulder. In general, something stung me. Or just like fire, it touched me like that. I removed my shoulder from the coral reef. Look, and beneath me lies this very crown. What is it called? The Devil's Crown. In short, one of the most poisonous sea stars, all covered in sharp spines. And it's a good thing I was wearing a suit. One spine just brushed my shoulder, but it seems there's no trace left, no consequences. But if it weren't for the suit, it would have been much worse. Definitely, it's very dangerous, especially when I'm doing underwater hunting alone. Something you should never do. Then I would, as usual, be occupied with daily life on a deserted island, a bit expanding my camp, making it more comfortable, exploring new areas. And also, among the ocean debris washed ashore, I was gathering useful tools and building materials that could help me in constructing my big shelter. In general, nothing special or interesting happened until evening. But after the sun started setting behind the horizon, everything changed. What does that mean, friends? Well, it means it's time for crab hunting. So, I'll catch them now. I'll take a pot with a lid, and then I'll transfer them there for the night. And cook them in the morning, because they'll make noises here. I won't be able to sleep from this drumming. So for now, I'll catch the crabs in the pot. Friends, I see crabs. Look how many of them there are. Big, 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 running away. Whoop. Whoop, calm down.
Opa.
Friends, the first crab is caught. I'm holding it very dangerously. Here's the first crab. The first one's caught. I'm very loud. I'm very loud. Big crabs are running away. Let's go check right away. First here. On the tripod already. And here are their burrows. Spines. First, I was hunting crabs. I set up the camera on the tripod and ran left and right, choosing the biggest ones. Friends, look at this monster. Look at its claw. Just look at the size of this. Unbelievable. Damn, I climbed into such spines. Better go back. How did I get here? All the caught crabs were placed alive in the pot. It's very important to keep them alive. Since I don't have a fridge here and the fish spoils very quickly, I cook it first. But these live crabs can stay alive until I need food. I can just open the pot at any time and cook my catch. It's very convenient. Here's the biggest one. Look. Wow, look how big it is. Friends, well, this is a full portion. In the morning, I'll cook them and show you how they look. Wow. After the crab hunt, I took my homemade bamboo spear and dove into the water hoping to catch squids. This time, luck was on my side. Almost immediately, I managed to catch a small cuttlefish. After a precise hit, it released an ink cloud right in front of my face. I removed the catch from the spear and swam on to hunt more seafood. And there, right by the bottom, was another small cuttlefish. I aimed with the spear and was about to shoot when it quickly swam off to the side. Then I raised the flashlight and saw something near the surface of the water. It was a small squid. But I couldn't catch up with it. It turned out to be very fast. And there, by the bottom, was another cuttlefish. I aimed and made a precise shot. This one was a bit bigger. Just look at how it reflects the light from my flashlight and changes color underwater. An amazing creature, but today it's my catch. And there, near the surface of the water, swam another cuttlefish, but very small. It wasn't afraid of me at all. I even managed to touch it with my hand. Well, I'm swimming further. I was shining the flashlight left and right, and also carefully watching the bottom and the surface of the water. Because squids and cuttlefish swim in the water column, you have to watch carefully in all directions. And then, in the water column, I saw a squid. Aimed and made a precise shot. Another catch on my spear. As soon as I removed that squid from the tip, I noticed a small red snapper by the bottom. I aimed and caught that one too. This catch will be enough for me. I'm going back to the shore. So friends, I managed to catch a few squids. First of all, I want to squeeze all the ink out of them. I will need all the ink. Tomorrow you'll find out why. So, this squid is the one I caught. It's small. Another squid. This one is a little bigger. It's just that it's already headless. Oh, this one has more ink. And here's the cuttlefish I caught. It will have even more ink now. It should, at least, I tried to keep it all. Oh look, oh ho ho. Damn, there's a lot here. Great, great, I need to collect it all. I need to collect all the ink. Tomorrow you'll find out everything. By the way, for those who didn't know, this ink is actually very useful. It's used in making expensive pasta. Therefore, it's a natural dye, which is even beneficial for the body if consumed. I'll go wash my hands along with these squids. But all this ink needs to be saved. So, I washed. Now I need to salt everything well. The squid hasn't spoiled overnight, but it won't spoil because the temperature has dropped. I removed all the innards, the ones that spoil first, so nothing will happen to them until morning. And in the morning, I'll cook them. Friends, I've been carrying a small jar of sunflower oil and a pan since season 2 of Shark Island to cook squid rings, but I hadn't been able to catch them until now. So I finally managed like this. And I hide them in the shade. I also caught a small fish like this. I'll remove its innards and put it in salt. And tomorrow morning, the first thing I'll cook is what I caught today. Because it's time to go to sleep. Day 5. Well, friends, it's time to wake up. Rise and shine. Well, first I washed up and did a little workout. Now I'm going to cook the seafood I caught, the ones I managed to catch yesterday with a spear. I'll leave the live crabs and cook them after lunch. But the seafood, when the sun rises and starts warming, won't last long. So now I'll make a fire and cook the squids. I need to wash the dishes. For this, I use water from the ocean, and also ulva, a green edible plant from the coral reef. With this, I'll wash my pan. Thanks to the salt, I managed to keep the seafood fresh until the morning. And for now, I'll put the pan on the fire and add a little vegetable oil. Finally, sunflower oil came in handy, friends. I also had some breading for squid rings somewhere. But on Shark Island, Season 2, I cooked fish with this breading, so it's not here. I thought I had some, but the sunflower oil is still there. Now, friends, I'll show you what the backbone of a cuttlefish looks like. I'm sure many of you have found it on the shore. Look, here. You find it on the shore, or if you have a pet or a terrarium, these cuttlefish skeletons are often sold as a source of calcium for parrots and other animals. This is pure calcium, so the flies have flown in from the smell. I need to quickly put it in the pan. It sizzled so deliciously and appetizingly. and the smell was simply magical. I really love squid rings. And when you catch it yourself with your own hands and cook it on a deserted island, the value of such a dish increases many times over. Friends, and of course, as usual, let's rate this dish from 1 to 10 in the comments below this video. And also write to me who would like to try these squids. They cook very quickly. Literally 5 minutes and my dish was ready. I'm putting it on the plate. And my plate is a shell from a giant mollusk tridacna that I ate a few days ago. No need to overdo it. A small squid cooks in just a few minutes. So, oh wow. Here's the delicious dish I made. But something's still missing. A little pepper and some lime juice. Now it's perfect. Well, friends, let's try. What I've made. It looks very appetizing. Juicy, not overcooked, good. I will eat the small squids first. Oh, this piece is already a bit juicier. Very good, very good. Very tender, juicy. I can confidently say that this was one of the most delicious dishes I've managed to cook on uninhabited islands. And of course, you must always remember to wash the dishes right after you're done. First of all, it's much harder to do when it dries up. And secondly, food scraps will attract flies and other insects, which there are already plenty of here. Now I will take parchment paper for cooking. Now I will need the fish I caught and the ink that I collected from the squids and cuttlefish last night. Now we will make geotaku. This is a Japanese technique of drawing your catch using only natural materials. First, I fix the fish in the sand. I wipe the front side of the fish with a napkin and beautifully spread its fins. Using the napkin, I apply squid ink to the surface of the fish, evenly over its entire surface, but I need to remove any excess ink. Now I carefully press the paper on top and gently press with my fingers over the entire surface. And I realize that parchment paper is not very suitable for this, but I don't lose hope. I will take a regular napkin and do the same. I apply it and press it thoroughly. And I end up with this small picture of my catch as a memento. This napkin needs to be dried, placed in a small frame, and hung at home so I can later remember the catch on my next uninhabited island. And the most important thing is that this ink is a natural product and completely non-toxic. Now the fish just needs to be washed, cooked, and eaten. And now it's time to catch some new prey. For this, I will use my homemade spear. It's a kind of primitive spear. On one end there's a sharp tip, and on the other end, a rubber band. I take the rubber band in my hand and stretch it. It turns into a primitive underwater hunting crossbow. But with this spear, I can also hunt on land. During an underwater hunt near the rocks, I saw that quite large fish stay near the shore. So during high tide, I will try to catch them from above. I chose a high point, aimed, and took a shot. But the fish was very fast. I didn't lose hope and continued my hunt. This time I managed to make the spear very long. It's convenient for hunting from a long distance. And while I was hunting along the shore, monkeys were already running around my bay where I had set up my camp. I really hope they didn't steal anything there. Look, I see a fish. I load the spear, aim, and take a shot. But I hit a rock, and my spear tip bent. The damage was very serious. But without this spear, surviving on this island will be very difficult, so I will try to restore it. And for this, I will use an ordinary stone. Look, I managed to restore the spear tip, almost like new. I can continue my hunt. I decided to make a fire, and while I'm hunting, at any needed moment, a source of fire will already be waiting for me at the camp. But to start a fire, I need dry bamboo, and preferably far from seawater, because when wood is soaked in seawater, it burns very poorly. I hope this bamboo will work for that. I broke off a piece and returned to camp. What a club it turned out to be. I have bamboo. Now I need to split it into parts. For this, I use my knife. And while I was preparing the fire, I noticed that a fishing boat had entered my bay. At first, I thought they had noticed me, but then when I looked closer, I saw that they were poachers. And along my entire bay, they were throwing hundreds of meters of nets from the boat. I tried not to get caught in the eyes of such people. Now I need to make a small cut in the bamboo. In the middle of it, I made a through hole. I placed dry coconut husk in this hole. This will be my tinder. And I press it down with a stick. On the other side of the bamboo, I will use another dry stick to create friction until a coal forms. And theoretically, it should fall through this hole onto the coconut husk. Let's see how it goes. The most important thing is to take a comfortable and stable position and repeat the movement monotonously. But no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't start a fire using this method. When evening came, as usual, I immediately took my mask and snorkel and dove underwater to catch myself some food. And right away, a very brave and cheeky needlefish swam toward me. I took the spear and dived underwater, and at the very bottom, I spotted a trumpetfish. It was large in size. I carefully swam up to it and took a shot. I managed to catch the prey. This is the biggest trumpetfish I have ever seen underwater. Just look at how quickly it changes its color. Turning white, then striped. It had such an unusual shape that I didn't even know how to string it on my stringer. But after some time, I finally figured it out and continued my underwater hunt. Underwater, I saw a boxfish, another hairy crab hiding in a shell, and other very amazing underwater creatures. And here, something completely alien swam by. It seemed like it was about to swim under my mask, and I would turn into some kind of alien. And here on the rocks, I saw an edible mollusk. But inside, there was a hermit crab. I continued my underwater hunt and carefully looked around. Well, let's head back to shore. Friends, just look here. What a catch, right? Look, an amazing fish. Look at its tail. And an equally amazing head. Wow. I will call this fish sausage fish. Just look at it. A big fish, a big one. This will make a great kebab. I'm removing all the insides from this fish. I'll also remove the gill covers so the fish doesn't spoil overnight. That's it. There's really nothing much to clean here. I put my catch in a pot, added a little salt, and went to my hammock to sleep. Day 6. All right, let's cook the sausage fish. It's more like a stick than a fish. Wow, its mouth is funny. Its tail is so interesting, right? Look, one fin, then another fin. And the head, it really looks like a flute. No wonder it's called that. For a flute fish, this is a pretty big size. First I made a fire. Now I'll prepare the fish. I'll rinse off the excess salt. And to cook it, I'll need a good skewer. This branch should work. I cleaned it well. Now, to put the sausage fish on the skewer, I'll cut it into pieces. But it turned out to be not so easy. Wow, it has this... Should I cut it like this? Look, the fish looks more like a snake. Now I'm putting all these pieces onto the skewer. It's so meaty, really like a sausage fish. Look at this fish kebab. Check it out. It looks very strange, and I think it will taste very interesting too. Just look at its unique head shape. That's exactly why this fish is called a flute fish. The wood has burned down, and now I have nice embers. I'll roast my catch on them. Just look at that appetizing golden color. The sausage fish is almost ready. And in just about 10 minutes, my catch was cooked. Taking it off the fire, the dish is ready. This sausage fish turned out to be very lean. It tastes a lot like either a garfish or a barracuda. But in any case, I was very pleased with this catch. I gather up the fish scraps. I use them as bait for my crab traps. I was already very hungry, so I ate the entire fish with great appetite. I set aside all the leftovers. I'll use them as bait in the AliExpress trap. Well, now let's unpack the trap and set it underwater. This trap is as simple as it gets. It looks like a fish pot. A spiral spring is covered with mesh, and there are entrance holes on both sides. First, this trap is very compact. Second, it's cheap and versatile. As bait, I use leftover fish, crabs, and squid. I put all of it into a bottle. Now I take the trap. And of course, the camera. I'm very curious to see what happens underwater. And of course, I definitely need to show it to you. Another thing I like about this trap is that it's made of strong mesh. and it has low water resistance in the current. That's also a big plus. I took the trap and dove underwater. I found a beautiful coral reef. I'll set the trap here. Just look at how many fish are here. I think this is a great spot to set the trap. First, I weighed the trap down with stones so the current wouldn't carry it away. Now I pour all the bait inside from the bottle. The trap is set. Let's watch together and see what happens underwater. I returned to shore and decided to make a fire again to warm up. But this time I decided to use my spear and a stone to start the fire. The most important test of the spear. Namely, can I make fire with my new spear? For this, I'll need tinder. A dry coconut. I like this combination the most. Other options are possible. I just prepared this in advance. It's the most convenient for me. The stone I found, either on Shark Island in Season 2 or on the island where I caught the stingray. I don't even remember myself. Correct me if you remember. In any case, just a regular stone. I place the tinder on top of the stone. Hold it down with my finger, just like this, pressing it with my finger. Now let's see, does the spear work or not? There's a smell, but for some reason it won't ignite. Strange, really. The old spear almost ignited on the first try. There is a smell, but it doesn't catch fire, friends. A bad spear. The old one was better. I still have that handle, but it's not with me. Not in this country. We will look for a better one. This time, this technique didn't work, but it is what it is, friends. Not everything works out on the first try. Time passed, and the bait inside the trap attracted the attention of fish. I wonder if I will be able to catch something with this trap. What do you think, friends? Be sure to leave your predictions in the comments under the video. Thank you very much for watching. If you like this episode, only in that case, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. Share this video with your friends. And watch the results of this trap in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.